Hello and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports, and some breaking news as RASSIE ERASMUS has been formally charged by World Rugby and will have to appear in front of an independent committee after he released a video last week, over an hour long, questioning the decisions and the calls made by the referees during the first test between the Springboks and the British and Irish Lions. We're going to go through it in a bit of detail now, and a very, very big statement being made by World Rugby, and quite a watershed moment for rugby in general. But before we sort of look at exactly what they have to say, exactly what RASSIE ERASMUS is being charged with, please do smash like on the video and subscribe to the channel. So when the incident happened back on Thursday, when the video was sort of leaked onto several different platforms, Vimeo was the official one where the video came and then appeared on various different channels. We've also got our channel if you want to go and check it out. World Rugby issued a statement on the day where they basically said that they had noted the release and they will not make any more comments at this stage. But today, just a few days before the final and all-important third test, it has been confirmed that World Rugby will be charging RASSIE ERASMUS with misconduct, and he will have to appear in front of an independent jury where they will then decide on the merits of the charge and whether he will be punished or not. So I'm going to take you through the statement and then we'll sort of try and dissect that a little bit. So World Rugby said, and as follows: match officials are the backbone of the sport, and without them there is no game. World Rugby condemns any public criticism of their selection, performance, or integrity, Warren Gatland, which undermines their role, the well-established and trust-based coached officials' feedback process, and more importantly, the values that are at heart of the sport. Having conducted a full review of all the available information, World Rugby is concerned that individuals from both teams have commented on the selection and or performance of match officials. However, the extensive and direct nature of the comments made by RASSIE ERASMUS within a video address in particular meets the threshold to be considered a breach of World Rugby Regulation 18, misconduct and code of conduct, and will now be considered by an independent disciplinary panel. World Rugby has reminded the management of both teams of the importance of this area and their obligations regarding the values of the sport. In order to protect the integrity and the sport and its values, World Rugby will also undertake a review of its code of conduct relating to incidents of this nature, with a view to strengthening scope, rules, and sanctions. As with any test series, South Africa versus the British and Irish Lions is a showcase of rugby that generates great excitement and interest, even more so at this challenging time for sport and society. It is an opportunity for both teams and their management to set a positive example and concentrate on the spectacle and a wonderful example of rugby and its values at their best. Right, so we saw it, I mean, we kind of headlined it last week Thursday with the idea that RASSIE ERASMUS had declared war in many ways against World Rugby, and this is World Rugby now hitting back. So RASSIE ERASMUS will now have to sit in front of an independent panel and talk them through the video, the fact that it got there, how it got out there, why it went out there, and whether he is guilty of bringing sort of the game into disrepute, and whether he has violated the code of conduct. So it's going to be quite an interesting moment, and you can sort of see, I mean, it's quite good that Warren Gatland was also mentioned, and I think we all knew this, that you can't just, whilst RASSIE ERASMUS definitely went past the line and was the most at fault in terms of the refereeing conduct, we cannot pretend that Warren Gatland did not also cross a line in terms of wondering whether there was the right decision and questioning the integrity of Marius Janke, the TMO. So this is going to be a very, very interesting moment. There's been no sort of date or something about when this is happening. There's also no sort of information on exactly what the sanction might be. It could be a very big monetary fine. He could be banned from games to a certain extent or something like that. Or he might even be forced to actually resign or anything like that. They might say that he's not allowed to be part of a national team or anything like that. So those are sort of some of the bans that could come into effect. So we'll have to wait and see as this sort of unfolds exactly what sort of punishment could face RASSIE ERASMUS. But this is a very interesting moment for world sport, because RASSIE ERASMUS has directly challenged World Rugby, and they're going to respond now, and they're going to have to talk him through the fact that he can't do that, and the answer, the hit back from RASSIE ERASMUS will probably be saying, but was I wrong on what they said? And they're going to have to either sort of say, yes, you were, or they're going to have to say, no, you were, but you can't be doing this and stuff like that. So it's going to be quite an interesting sort of hearing, quite an interesting result. I think the fact that they talked about the fact that they have to review its code of conduct relating to incidents of the nature with a view to strengthening scope, rules, and sanctions, it's frustrating that they're not looking at reviewing the process of the referee review, but more the process of how they can actually take action against coaches. So I think that's probably the most World Rugby thing about it all, that there seems to be a little bit, initially in this statement, a complete lack of focus on maybe we need to consult how our processes are happening, and more on we need to look at the code of conduct so we can punish people better for this sort of scenario, which is quite frustrating, because I think that even if RASSIE ERASMUS goes, if what he did means that there were made changes to the process of getting the referee reviews being done and making it a little bit more transparent, or even a little bit clearer and faster, it would have definitely benefited World Rugby. But that part seems to have completely gone over World Rugby's head, and it's now becoming a bit of a slug match between Erasmus and World Rugby. So it's going to be quite a big moment. I'm quite interested to sort of see what happens. I don't think you can ever sort of promote and say that you should be doing what Erasmus did, but there's certainly a certain amount of the issues that he brought about. And I think the biggest issue he had was the fact that it was going to take so long to get the analysis done. He wanted to have these discussions on Sunday night and was told, no, he can't. Then you're only getting the feedback on Tuesday to then put it in place on Friday, which means you only have 2 sessions to actually work on that, of which one is a captain's practice. And I'm not usually contact or anything like that. So it's going to be quite an interesting hearing from that review in terms of will their processes themselves change, or are they only looking to try and change the documentation and the wording of their policies in order to be able to make coaches more accountable in such a situation. And it sets a bit of a dangerous precedent as well, because whilst Gatlin has them in charge, if they start changing their policies, does what Gatlin said then become a chargeable offence? Does it then say that you cannot mention or question the integrity of any match officials in a public space? So those are sort of the small nitty-gritty things that might come about from this. So we'll keep you informed as we know more, because this is very, very much just happened, and we don't quite know what the process will exactly be, who will be involved, and what sort of punishments RASSIE ERASMUS can expect. But it is a very, very big response from World Rugby, and it could be a very big week for the game in general. But let me know what you think. What sort of punishment do you think that RASSIE ERASMUS should face? What do you think of the statement? Do you think that World Rugby are missing the point, or are they? I think they're right to obviously back the officials, but are they missing the overriding point that both Gatlin and Erasmus were trying to make? Or do you think that they're just a case of protecting their own and protecting their own interests? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. My name is Steven. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll chat to you soon.